Hey guys, what's up? So in today's video I thought I'll talk a little bit about the city that I live in. I want to talk about London. Quite often I get comments underneath my videos of people saying, especially people from Germany, why do you live in London? What's the reason for doing that? So there seems to be an interest there of people, generally in Germany, I don't know about other countries, I think it's kind of a worldwide thing, but generally people are fascinated by the city of London. So I thought I'll just reveal kind of a few stories. I'm living here since about 8 years. I grew up in Germany until I was, I think, around 22, 23, and then I moved to the UK, to London. Originally to study here. I thought I'll just gonna do 1 year because I got an offer to study here, kind of do a BA on top of my other BA that I already had, and just do 1 year in London. So I thought, oh well, that's probably a nice experience. But then I kind of started to like the city. I then got another offer to extend my studying period, so I stayed another 2 years, and turns out that until now I'm here, and it's been 8 years now. I have to admit that at this point I'm very much at a point that I kind of want to move back into the countryside because I'm 33 now, I have a baby, and I kind of crave quieter times. But especially when you're young, like when I first moved here in the age of 23, you just like want to go out, you want to party, you want to meet people, you want to have this buzz of the city, especially when you come from the countryside. So that was the original reason why I moved here. And I have to say now in retrospect, London is a really fascinating concept of a city, I nearly want to say. Because if you come from Germany, Germany is very much focused on their German culture, right? You know, they are not very open for other cultures being merged with their own. Everything that is different is a bit, people are suspicious towards it. That's at least my feeling, you know, maybe you have a different feeling. But like the way that, for instance, Muslim people, and I made a video about that separately, but the way that Turkish people are integrated in society in Germany is very essentially different from how Muslim people are incorporated in society in a city like London. Obviously, the UK has a lot of colonies, so basically London is just a city that is put together from so many different cultures. It's very rare that you walk around and you meet people that are actual Londoners, like people who are born in the UK. It's just you meet Turkish people, Pakistani people, African people, you meet Germans, you meet Swedish, you meet everything but British people, apparently. I mean, obviously you do meet British people every now and then, but it's just not the majority. But fascinating enough, despite all the different cultures that kind of live here on a rather tight space, it seems to work relatively well. I don't feel that there's a lot of hate towards other cultures, if that makes sense. Everybody seems to just live next to each other and respect each other's habits and behaviors. And that's really fascinating. And every time I come back to Germany now and I see how people there are discussing, you know, about the loss of their culture because there are too many Turkish people, it just seems awfully ridiculous if you look at a city like London and how everything works here. I don't want to say that London is the perfect city. Obviously, when so many people live in a tight space, it always causes problems. There are many problems that the city has. And personally, the biggest problem that I see in the city is like, this city is breeding a whole generation of kids that will have no future, and the city and the government are doing absolutely nothing about it. If you remember 5-6 years ago, I don't remember exactly when it was, but there were these riots in London, right? A lot of kids went on the street and they broke front facades of shops, and they stole expensive sneakers and iPhones and all kinds of things that they could never afford if they wouldn't steal them that day. Now, while that was quite ridiculous in itself, just seeing kids breaking the law and going just to steal a pair of sneakers, it made quite a big statement about the problems that the city have, because these kids are hanging out in the parks all day, they're dealing drugs, they're smoking weed, that's what they're doing all day long, and there is no effort of the government to kind of work against that. Their parents quite often already did the same thing, and this crowd of kids is growing exponentially. They're getting more and more with every generation. And when these riots happened in London, I thought, okay, look, this is a wake-up call, right? The government's going to say, yeah, we're going to invest more in youth clubs. We're going to invest more in, you know, more education for kids. We're going to make sure that these kids have something that picks them up and offers them a future. But the only thing that the government did, or what James Cameron did at that time, was to say, oh wait, we need more police. We need to protect ourselves from these kids. And I mean, that is just so stupid, because it doesn't solve any problem at all. It just makes the problem it silences the problem, basically. That's all it does, and it doesn't solve anything. So I see that as to be a huge problem in London. What is quite interesting, and what gets to me now probably more than just 5 years ago, is how busy the city is. I work in the city center. I work just on Oxford Street, so it's literally in the very middle of the city. And going there in the morning, coming back in the evening, it is just basically like in a science fiction movie. You're moving through these tunnels of the tube with hundreds of thousands of people, basically. I mean, not in one spot, but it feels like it's just people pushing through these tunnels, and it nearly sometimes feel like, and we're kind of getting into philosophical territory here, it sometimes nearly feels like the city then becomes like a living organism, and all these tube tunnels are kind of its blood veins, and people are pushing through these blood veins, and it's like thousands of like little blood vessels pushing through these tunnels. And that's kind of fascinating in itself. It gets a bit annoying at times. I, for instance, remember I had friends visiting me, and I picked them up at the airport or something and then took them home with me. And on our way there, we had to pass through big stations like King's Cross, and it's just always busy there, right? It's like always hundreds and hundreds of people rushing around. I didn't even notice it, but when we left the station, my friend was like, dude, I don't know how you can handle that every day. It's crazy. But as I said, I didn't even notice it anymore. So I think for someone who's from Germany, and I mean, big city in Germany is Berlin, which is not really comparable in terms of busyness, at least. For them, it's kind of weird to adapt to the situation. But anyway, guys, there are a million stories that I could tell about the city, whether it is the food quality, which is not really great, I feel. I mean, obviously, you can spend £100 on a steak and you will get probably the best steak you ever had. But if you kind of want to eat, like want to get affordable but healthy food, I feel that London is not really up there with other cities. There are so many other stories that I could talk about. I know that a lot of you guys, you know, after you study or something, want to move to London, want to experience that city. So if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comment section below. There are a lot of things, I think, where I could be of help. Simple things like, you know, how do I get a flat? How do I find work in London? Or how do I open a bank account? All these kind of things, I'm really happy to help you. If you don't want to leave it in the comment, you can obviously also send me a private message. I'm happy to answer those as well. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave me a like if you did. You can subscribe to my channel. That would be much appreciated if you didn't have already. And otherwise, guys, just stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Bye.